junior year of high school. I had this really intimate art class. It was like Eric's Basement off that 70s show, but instead of weed, we got high off of our own art. We were working on self-portraits. I sat across from a boy named Alex. He looked like Harry Potter. With the confidence of winning his first Quidditch match strapped across his chin, he had deep blue eyes, the shade I'd imagine a pool of angels' tears to be. Every day we talked about things like Pokemon, video games, and how we totally abuse our superpowers if we had any one day. Alex looks up at me with the most peculiar look in his angel tear blue eyes, and out of his tipsy crescent moon of a mouth, he says, "Salena, you are the most amazing girl I have ever met, and I'd totally date you if you weren't black." Now, the look on my Underground Railroad of a face must have led him to believe he had said something wrong, because he started to apologize. I don't really know what he said after that because I kind of blacked out. And by the time I came through, I was sitting in an empty art classroom yelling things like, "If I weren't black, what the fuck you mean if I weren't black? My black ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears practically built this country. They fought for the right for you to sit across me in this classroom and say some shit to me like that. So what do you mean if I weren't black? Do you mean if the strength of 1,000 lynchmen weren't buried in the thickness of my calves, or the shame of countless raped women didn't peekaboo itself on the fairness of my melanin, or if you couldn't tell that my house slave hair comes from a nigger woman whose beauty must have been too much for master and all his sons to resist, as the braid that runs thick and long down my back is a reflection of your ancestors' whips, yet I'm still just a nigger to the boy with angel tear blue eyes who looks up at me and sees slavery in my melanin, but does not see Africa in the backbone of his America. And yet every shirt he wears is cotton that still has my ancestors' blood stains and the stitches in the soil buried too deep for his ignorance to reach. Yet he could dig up his dead ancestors' hearts and speak their dying heartbeats off his tongue, as he tells me that in his eyes, his angel tear blue eyes that suddenly turn ocean of dead slave bodies tossed overboard blue. Everything about me is perfect, but the color of my skin, the deep brown roots of Africa in my pupils, the death red of Indians in my bone structure, they say, and my great-grandmother's spitting image, a little more slavery in my eyes, but I have all her Indian in my bone structure. I look down at my self-portrait. Alex, I thought you were a fan of art. Am I not a masterpiece?